Yes, family. Champs done. The 113th running of the ISA Grace Kennedy sponsored Boys and Girls Athletics Championships. And of course, we all know KC recorded its 34th win, and Heidel finally broke through and now has registered its first hold on the girls' division of this combined championship. So I just say a big shout out to Coach Grant at KC and even more so to Coach Corey Bennett for having pulled double duty, because not only did he coach the Heidel team, specifically the Heidel girls team, but he also coached Calabar. And it is Calabar and the KC issue that I want to address with this video today. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, on Wednesday of champs, the second day of championships, there was an incident at the end of the boys class 200 meters final. And unfortunately, this involved, this incident involved a KC and Calabar athlete. Now, according to what I saw and what has been reported, it appeared that the Calabar athlete ran over into the KC athlete's lane and basically caused interference, and it deprived the KC athlete of a medal. Now, a lot has been said about this event and the incident involving the two runners. But in my opinion, a lot of the commentary has been very parochial, very political, if you will, where depending on which side your preference is, your argument seem to be waiting on that. In fact, there are a lot of people on the KC side who want to suggest that the Calabar athlete deliberately ran into the KC athlete. Now, before we get into the specifics, the fact is that the organizers of champs took the decision that the Calabar athlete infringed, and quite rightly, they punished him, disqualified him from the event. But at the end of the race itself, the KC athlete charged at the Calabar youngster, pushed him, and he was subsequently separated by some of the officials, the KC team people, and they pulled him one side. But within less than a minute after that, in fact, when he fell, the Calabar athlete went over, and it was clear, was apologizing for whatever. And we know champs is big thing, because he was deprived of a medal, and that must be a massive shock to his system. But having said that, the Calabar youngster attempted to apologize, and he walked away. His own teammates and team officials pulled him away, and the KC guy got up and attacked him again. Now, when I saw that, I mean, I was shocked. Shocked. The first time when he rushed the Calabar guy, I was, a little taken aback. But you figure, adrenaline and emotion and so on, and so you prepared to kind of, play that down. But when he attacked him the second time, and this is now, remember the race. This KC cheering section is right at the southern end of the bleachers, at where the tape is. All the races are finished right there, and strategic position. And KC, we know, my school, we dominate in terms of the crowd, huge numbers of purple and white, and so on, well wishers, past students, and just everybody who cheer KC. And so one kind of wonder, when he rushed the guy for the second time, what was going through his mind? Because clearly, picking a fight. And of course, the officials took the decision to basically disqualify the KC youngster from any further participation in the championships. In my opinion, that was a correct decision. Now, for some reason, the KC personnel, and I know my old boys, them gonna use all the things at them disposal, and they seem to have managed to. They protested and they reinstated the youngster. And there's a whole heap of strategic argument, whole heap of arguments relative to the team strategy and so on that relates to that. But, this is where I really distance myself from the whole process now, because in my opinion, this is a youngster who would be somewhere around 14, 15 years old, 15 going on 16. So he's a maturing adolescent youngster. You represent a school that has enrolled over 2,000 odd boys, 2,500 boys, if I'm not mistaken, maybe more than that. And then there are legions of past students like myself from KC. So once you put on the purple and white coat, you represent me, you represent, all of the KC fraternity. And, my philosophy is that we must be able to make a distinction between right and wrong. And when this youngster attacked the other youngster, that wrong. And in any kind of sporting event, if we accommodate that kind of behavior, in my opinion, we are sending the wrong signal. And so the KC team personnel protested because they claimed the guy was part of the 4x100 meters class 2 team, and they needed to if you're going to disqualify him, etc., etc. And so an argument came about, which I subsequently learned yesterday, about a technicality. They got him reinstated based on a technicality because the officials took too long to make a decision about disqualifying him from further participation. Now, while that may be the rules, me believe that the issue of discipline and its maintenance at the school level and in terms of sports and sports participation is paramount. And by reinstating that youngster, we're sending the wrong message to all of the youngsters who are participating at the championship. In fact, it was a black eye, a slap in the face of the organizers and the sponsors as well. Because what you are doing, in my opinion, is rewarding indiscipline. I can understand that he rushed the guy immediately after the race out of, just anger and his initial adrenaline, the continuation of the pumping of his adrenaline at the end of the race. And it's understandable. But the second rush, the second attack was unprovoked, unnecessary, and deliberate. And as a school with almost 100 years of existence, we have to stand for something. And it can be that because the organizers may have erred in terms of how they may have applied the rules in terms of arriving at their ruling and the timeliness of it, that you are going to capitalize on that and bring back this example of indiscipline back into the fold, right? This is a youngster, young enough, 15 or 16 years old, still at school. He will have an opportunity to redeem himself at the next championships. But he ought to be made to learn that that kind of behavior is intolerable and unacceptable. And so when I see my colleagues who I went to school with, and I go, KC, 1969, I ain't a boy. I'm a big, old ass steering man, right? And I love Kingston College more than anything else in the world, as far as my past school. And I also went to Camperdown to the sixth form. But when it comes to champs and certain aspects of my own life and existence, Kingston College. See me there out in my colors because I'm a KC man. But me not a KC man to the degree that me hug up and embrace indiscipline. Me not go do that. In fact, I was mortified on Monday morning that KC didn't take a delegation of these youngsters from members of the track team, the team captain, etc., and along with the principal if necessary, the coach certainly, and visit Calabar High School and apologize. Because I'll know, I hear them tell me, say, yeah, them issue apology, but it was made public and all. That's bullshit, right? You cannot be, well, I guess in a Jamaica you can wrong and strong, but that is not what should operate in any properly run society. And I guess what we are seeing playing out here is what has become normalized behavior in Jamaica, right? So everybody a bad man and thing, and you sure say you're bad and thing. In 1981, and I was a young man in 1981 when Champs mash up and Casey and Calabar got kicked out of Champs for a year because of the same kind of, antagonism towards each other coming from the team membership, and it created a big orange and plastic bottle war that this whole stadium descended into chaos because of an infraction between a Casey and a Calabar student on the medley relay, right? And of course the people ISA kicked them out of the championship. Having lived through that, we need to do everything in our powers as grown-ass men and women to ensure that we never go back to that kind of situation. We need to recognize that when you do wrong, you need to remonstrate. There are some things in it a little talking to will help, but sometimes you have to take a stronger action, right? And by us using our weight and power and thing and getting this youth back in the championship, overturning the decision of the organizers, me personally believe that wrong, right? I mean, no care, you could not even Jesus Christ or whoever can come down out of the sky if there is such a thing and tell me otherwise, because that are my core principle where me live by, right? You're not supposed to wrong and strong same time, right? And it not take nothing for we just turn on and say, gentlemen, we screwed up. We dropped this ball and we're sorry, right? Our responsibility as KC old boy, right, with sense, who have good education, good upbringing, is to try to extend that across the school community, not just at KC, but across the island. If we are serious about transforming the discipline issues in the country, right, the crime issues, we have to be strong on issues like these. And not because the organizers may have slipped in terms of their timing and how they address this issue, that we take advantage of it and then we reward indiscipline. And who don't like it, come fight me, right? Because guess what? That's my position. And me know that any sensible Jamaican, regardless of which school you go, you can appreciate the position I may come from, right? And not because we want to kill the youth, but we're in the wrong, right? And we have seen where this penchant towards violence is taking over our society, and our responsibility is to stamp it out. Don't come tell me that because you're a lawyer. You're not bright. Nobody, you're brighter than the next man, right? You may go a little more school and thing, but common sense and decency, and not more brightness, right? And it is indecent that we support this kind of behavior and then we turn around and reward it, right? Tell me what you think if you don't disagree with me, right? My position is that as a school that is what, just 2 years short of being 100 years old, we dropped the ball, right? We dropped the ball big time, and me still not think it too late for a little delegation go up a Calabar and say to the Calabar massive, gentlemen, we effed up, we never do good in this instance, and we apologize, right? Because when you tell a man say you're sorry, him can't kill you again, because you're sorry. You're sorry. Tell me what you want to think, right? Give me on a feedback. If you want to think that a foolishness may attack, me not frightened, afraid of the response. And me going to ask you if you have not subscribed to the channel. It's a good time. Subscribe to the channel. Give me, and let me see your feedback in the comment section. And if you like the video, hit the like button, share. And, I'd love us to continue this discussion on this topic. It's a big topic. It's not a topic that a lot of my brethren them from the college is happy to discuss, but the more grounded and sensible one them will recognize where may I go with this, because we're better than this. We better than this, right? 40s.